In the headlines to the CBC NewsNight, the discussion continues on insurance for persons with disabilities. Tree planting at St. Lucie schools as part of regathering. And the Agriculture Ministry issues guidelines on how to deal with the invasive millipedes. And in sports, Settlers secure their semi-final spot in the BIM 10 playoffs.
Broadcasting from our studios in the Pine St. Michael, this is CBC NewsNight, starting now.
Good evening and welcome to the CBC NewsNight. I'm Wendy Burke. Discussion continues regarding the ability of members of the disabled community to access insurance. On Tuesday, during parliamentary debate, it was raised within the context of the Rights of Persons with Disabilities Bill 2024. Minister of People Empowerment and Elder Affairs Kirk Humphrey highlighted the problem, and tonight we hear directly from the disabled community and get a response from the insurers. Now, President of the Barbados Council for the Disabled, Patricia Padmore-Blackman, says it's an uphill battle for those within the disabled community to get insurance. Contending that very few insurance companies have been amenable, she wants all of them to get on board.
Persons in an effort to further their living standards and to create a sense of security in their lives, whether it be health insurance or life insurance, have been unable to acquire insurance for this purpose. Insurance agencies should be able to assist persons with disabilities to realize this desire and to acquire the life that they want. We now call on all insurance agencies to include persons with disabilities to be able to acquire health or life insurance.
Ms. Padmore-Blackman says they've been advocating for years to be included by all insurers for various types of insurance.
The general response on our advocacy activities over the years have been satisfactory to some regard. We are conscious of the fact that we cannot legislate attitudes, but many times we find that persons are more open, especially when themselves are in touch with persons with disabilities, whether it be family members or close friends. We know that their attitudes are different. In some other quarters, it's like pulling teeth or getting people to understand that persons with disabilities are only trying to ascertain our rights as human beings.
Well, joining us now to share the perspective of insurers is President of the General Insurance Association of Barbados, Randy Graham. Mr. Graham, from where you sit, is it more difficult for persons with disabilities to access insurance?
Good night, Wendy, and good night, Barbados. First of all, let me start by saying that the insurance sector, as was highlighted earlier, is a full continue to support the disabled community in any ways that we can as we continue to support the wider society. I think it's important to take the issue in context. First, insurance companies do not, refuse insurance solely on the basis of a disability. That's not the case at all, and I think it was said before, but I want to reiterate that point, that just having a disability alone does not preclude someone from having insurance, right? If you consider the concept of motor insurance, you first must have to be able to get a driver's license. If your circumstances preclude you from getting a driver's license, then the consideration from insurance does not even come into play. But if you can get a driver's license on your basis, then even if you have a disability, once you have a valid driver's license, you can be considered for insurance. A company may choose to offer, another company may choose not to offer, but it does not preclude someone from getting more insurance solely on the basis of having a disability. Similarly, on medical and life insurance, I think that there are considerations that insurance companies take and they have to take. Again, with medical and life insurance, it does not preclude someone from getting the cover if they have a disability. But some of the factors that insurance companies have to consider, relate to a prognosis that may impact life expectancy, or may impact certainty relating to medical expenses that must come. And you can appreciate that if someone is presenting for insurance policy after being diagnosed, that becomes a case where the expenses are certain. This is not a case of pooling insurance anymore. The expenses are certain at that point. Therefore, things have to be considered in that context when determining whether the cover can be offered or not. So those are the considerations that insurance companies will have to take.
Okay, now you've singled out a few of those considerations, but I'm sure that the persons reporting to us are not, seeing this in a vacuum or pulling it out of the sky. So what can it be at this stage that is actually applied to those individuals with disabilities? Let's take the motor insurance out of it, and let's look at the other forms of cover.
Sure. First of all, I mean, the best advice that the sector can give persons is to present babies are extreme, but in any event, if you have a baby and you want to bring a baby onto medical insurance plan, within the first few days of that baby's life, they can come onto the plan in open enrollment. So there's no preclusion of any consideration at all for existence. They can come onto any medical insurance plan at that point. Obviously, if somebody has lived their life and developed a disability, and that disability now has a prognosis that can either unfortunately shorten life expectancy or have certainty about expenses that have to be incurred in the future, then at that point the conversation with the insurance company is not whether they are precluded from the cover, but how can we get a form of insurance available to that person that covers some things but maybe not cover all. I don't think it is unreasonable for insurance company to say, well, if you're going to have this expense coming in January, we can't offer you a policy for that. That may be excluded as a pre-existing condition, but it still means that that the community can be considered for other forms of insurance that relate to health and life, and that conversation can be had with most of the companies.
Okay, well, let's hope that conversation remains open. I want to thank you so much for joining us this evening, Mr. Randy Gray.
Sure.
St. Lucie continued its We Gathering celebrations with trees being planted at all the schools in the parish. Today, Member of Parliament Peter Phillips and a team from the We Gathering Secretariat visited the schools planting fruit and shade trees. Anesta Henry has the report.
All the schools in St. Lucie have new trees on their compounds. Today, the St. Lucie We Gathering 2025 Parish Organizing Committee planted fruit and shade trees at the 4 primary and 1 secondary school in the parish. Member of Parliament Peter Phillips led the initiative, which forms part of a series of events and activities that will take place this month.
We began at the Ignatius Bayer Primary School, and then we went on to the Dial Jordan Secondary School, then the St. Lucie's Primary School, then Sealer Primary, and we finished here at Half Moon Fort in St. Lucie. We were very, very, very careful to plant a fruit tree at every school, and that was very, very important, because as I admonished those students to be sure that fruit become part of their diet on a daily basis.
During his visit to the respective schools, Mr. Phillips and his team spoke to students about the importance of trees to the environment. The Member of Parliament believes the initiative has been a success.
It was lengthy, but it was very, very rewarding. It was very, very enjoyable, because our students participated for this. They were actually involved in what was happening.
As to what is St. Lucie's next We Gathering activity, Mr. Phillips says it will be held tomorrow night at a popular bar in one of the parish's close-knit communities.
We're going into actually a community on Friday night in Mount Gay at Diane's Bar, and we're going to have a karaoke and lime session.
Darrell Jordan's secondary's principal, Ken Lynn, says the school will take care of the new trees.
Though we may not be able to eat fruit from this tree, we are sure that generations following will be able to eat fruit from this tree, because as you can see, we do look after our fruit trees, and because it's important to us. So we are glad that we are part of the regathering exercise.
Arawak Cement Company is one of the St. Lucie-based businesses partnering with the St. Lucie Organizing Committee, sponsoring several events. Operations Manager Crystalline Ali Clark says the company is pleased to be a part of the initiative.
It is always great to have, as it was pitched, to have the diaspora persons from abroad to come back home and bring their knowledge, bring their experience, bring their value back home to us. And that's what we, as Mr. Phillips said, had as the first idea. But the partnerships that we've seen, as today, the tree planting ceremony, it's not only about who has gone, but it's about who's to come.
At the end of this month, St. Lucie will be passing the baton to St. Peter. Onesta Henry, CBC News.
U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris has thanked Barbados' Prime Minister Mia Motley for her partnership before her last trip abroad next week. Ms. Motley was among several world leaders Ms. Harris held telephone conversations with on Wednesday. The other leaders include the German Chancellor Olaf Scholz and French President Emmanuel Macron. Vice President Harris, during the conversation, emphasized her belief that U.S. economic and strategic interests are intertwined with its neighbors in the Caribbean. According to a statement from the White House, the two leaders also reviewed the progress in the U.S.-Caribbean partnership and the Vice President's leadership in strengthening the relationships throughout the region. The U.S. welcomed shared progress on climate adaptation and resilience, food security, and renewable energy investments, and reaffirmed her interest in continuing to strengthen the bonds between the American people and people throughout the Caribbean. Harris, come January 20th, will hand over the vice presidency to Senator J.D. Vance. Coming up, the Agriculture Ministry issues some advice on dealing with the invasive millipedes. The Ministry of Agriculture, Food and Nutritional Security has issued a comprehensive guide to help combat the recent increase in millipede sightings across the island. The arthropods, which are said to have not been nocturnal, have been invading dwelling homes during wet and cool weather. The ministry's guide includes prevention measures, sealing entry points into the home, maintaining dry conditions inside the home, the use of dehumidifiers, fixing any leaks around the home, keeping outside surroundings clean and away from the home, and improving ventilation. Senior Agricultural Officer in the Crop Protection Department, Brent Taylor, says the millipede was sighted a while ago, and while they have been sent for identification, a positive result has not been returned to date.
These millipedes are doing what they are supposed to do. That is, they are feeders of decaying organic matter. And as you will know, we have been having lots of rain for the past couple of months, and that rain has also introduced lots of vegetative matter, or as Bajans would say, lots of bush. So what these millipedes are doing is that they are feeding on this bush, they are feeding on the organic matter, and they are breaking it down into its constituents for further reabsorption into the soil.
However, he urges caution using pesticides around food and in the home to fight the pest. Mr. Taylor also advises that people pay attention to the effect of the pesticides to determine how often to reapply while not overusing chemicals.
This can be done, one, by placing a barrier around the home. And in placing the barrier around the home, it can be a number of methods. You can use things like salt. You can use salt all around the border of the house, and that would desiccate the millipedes. Then you can also use things like diatomaceous earth. This is something that, as the millipede crawls over it, it would desiccate them and they would die. I have been seeing things with people using lots of chemicals as well. These chemicals are, as we say, pesticides. And once they're pesticides, they not only can harm the millipede, but they can also harm you. So I implore you to use protective equipment.
Director of the Center for Biosecurity Studies at the University of the West Indies, Dr. Kirk Douglas, says he's not concerned about an increase in respiratory illnesses as it is usual given the time of year. He was responding to concerns about a possible outbreak of the human metapneumovirus in China.
But respiratory viruses like influenza and RSV will traditionally surge in this time of year, in the winter season, coinciding with the colder weather and increased indoor activity in the global north. So the global circulation of HMPV, for instance, is nothing novel. This is something that has occurred from time to time. It's just that now it's being highlighted in the media, and persons may not be more familiar with HMPV. So this is nothing to be too concerned about other than the usual precautions that you would normally take.
The NIFCA Awards ceremony, which took place at the Garfield Sobers Gymnasium, celebrated the talent which abounds in Barbados. The awards over the weekend range from spoken word to song to culinary arts, with a number of little ones and adults in winner's row. Among those on winner's row were little Sarah Butler, who won gold in the junior category of culinary arts, Egan Lane and Leslie Seal. The multifarious dance crew, Akeem Chandler Prescott, who won gold, and the Arden Clark Founders Trophy for his piece, Monsters Aren't Real. Keisha Amory of Dancing Africa collecting the Jean Carson Award for their junior entry, Passing the Light. Dr. Diane Brathwaite of the Gem in Eye project collected the Erskine Calendar Award for Excellence in Film Video, and Yusabel Jones, who received the Rachel Springer Scholarship for Choreography. Sky Doudridge was among the performers, and the Nuiza Dance Movement closed the curtain with a dance entitled The Power of Love. Chief Cultural Officer Andrea Wells says the awards were a fitting backdrop for all of the talent on show.
The NIFCA 2024 awards ceremony was the perfect capstone to a season where we celebrate excellence in the arts and Barbadian identity. The artists were on a high and really enjoyed this recognition that was afforded them on Sunday at the Sir Garfield Sobers Gymnasium.
There are reports of a shooting at Checker Hall, St. Lucie. Details are sketchy. However, CBC understands one man is dead. We'll bring more on this developing story as it comes to hand. Meanwhile, a man has been charged with the murder of Police Sergeant Antonio Rochester. The Barbados Police Service Criminal Investigations Department have arrested and formally charged Omel Justin Walren, 36 years, of Tudor St. Michael, for the murder of Rochester on January 2nd, 2025. Walren appeared before Chief Magistrate Ian Weeks in the District A Criminal Court today. He has been remanded to Dodds until Thursday, February 6. According to police reports, about 1:50 p.m., a motor truck traveling along Tudor Main Road struck Sergeant Rochester, a 30-year veteran of the force. The driver did not stop the vehicle and continued traveling a fair distance from the scene of the incident. The driver of the vehicle then fled. Sergeant Rochester was killed not too far from his home. And police have arrested and formally charged Jason Corey Omar Weeks, 43 years, of Moncrief St. Philip, for the murder of Junior Tate between June 27, 2023 and December 5th, 2024. Tate's body was among the human remains discovered in a bushy area at Henley St. John on December 5th. Time now to head over to the Sports Center, where we say goodnight to Mark Seal.
Well, very good evening to you, Randy. We're going to start with cricket. Settlers have qualified for the playoffs of the BIM 10 tournament after today's crucial win against fellow title contenders Pelicans at Windward. Playing in the penultimate day of the preliminaries, Settlers batted first and made an impressive 142 for 6 from their 10 overs. Player of the match, Kadeem Aline, batted through the innings for 70 not out, which was laced with 11 fours and 3 sixes. Akeem Jordan took 3 for 17. We have highlights from that innings.
Well, back of a length and on the pads of Richards. Innovation at its absolute finest. Aline says, this is my party as well. And that is the greeting that he receives. He gets success though. Well, he attempts to impose himself from the start and does just that. That is a shot and a half. A loud appeal struck in front. He's castled him. Does the destruction continue? It does. Well, he tries to go for power, and power. Well, pace off, and it has disappeared. Say goodbye to that. My, my, my. Oh, as sweet as macaroni pie. Catch taken. And the goodness continued for Akeem Jordan. This has been brilliant. This has been the way to close out an innings for 142.
Well, Pelicans then fell short by 14 runs after being restricted to 128 for 5. Jamar Eiffel tried his best with a big knock of 76 that included 5 fours and 7 sixes, but he couldn't get them over the line. Dario Cumberbatch took 2 for 11. That result put Settlers back into first place with 24 points and the highest net run rate, while they have also booked a place in the semi-finals. Pelicans, who along with Settlers have finished their 10 preliminary matches, remain in third place on 20 points. Meanwhile, second place Warriors have also qualified for the semis after Voyagers defeated Titans in today's first match of the doubleheader. That result meant that Warriors, who have a game in hand, will finish in the top 4 no matter what happens on the final day of the prelims tomorrow. Titans batted first and made 124 for 5. Cheyenne Brathwaite top scored with 42, while Niam Young added 36 not out, and Kamau Liverock 3 for 17. Voyagers replied with 129 for 5 off 9.1 to win by 5 wickets. Player of the match and skipper Giovanni De Pisa led with 41 not out that included a 4 and 5 sixes, while Dwayne Smith was unbeaten on 28 with 2 fours and 3 sixes. Now those two put on 47 for the unbroken 6-wicket partnership. The win doesn't improve Voyagers' position as they're still last on 8 points with no chance of advancing to the playoffs, while Titans remain in 5th place on 16 points. Titan will need a win in their final game tomorrow against 4th place Guardians, who are on 20 points, in order to sneak into the top 4. The other match will be between Voyagers and Warriors. 27 boats are entered, 14 of which are foreign, as the 2025 edition of the Barbados Sailing Week gets underway on Saturday and runs until January 21st. First up is the junior dinghy races in the Barbados Yacht Club on Saturday. Then on Sunday, the activities continue at the Barbados Cruising Club. The 19th will see coastal sailing offshore races at Carlisle Bay and a wing foiling competition at Welch's Beach in Oistins. Locally owned boats, Whistler and Rapajam, were the top finishers at last year's Mount Gay Round Barbados race, and they will be aiming to repeat in the marquee event set for Errolbarrow Day, January 21st. The curtain comes down on the competition component with the Rum to Spice offshore race from Barbados to Carriacou, Grenada, on January 23rd. Manager of sports for the Barbados Tourism Management Inc., Kamal Springer, says the event continues to grow.
It is important for us to recognize that the event has grown over last year. Last year, our aim was to get it stabilized and going again. We're now up to 14 visiting boats, and we can see boats coming from Germany, Australia, Abu Dhabi, all over the world, which is quite impressive for us. We're aiming to grow the event even more next year. We're hoping that we can hit something like 350 visitors next year for 7 days. And we're going to do that by working very closely with Mount Gay as well and promoting through their events across the world. They're working for a region of events across the North American region for sailing, so we want to make sure we're on board with them as we are with golf. So we see these synergies continuing through the world. We also want to make sure that we are in our markets advertising this event well in advance. This year, we made sure we worked with Marianne and her team long before to try to get the messaging out there in the advertising. So we're seeing significant opportunities to grow this event through the markets we have overseas in Europe, North America, South America, and so on.
The action is expected to be very keen with the likes of kite surfing freestyle competitions at Long Beach.
And in kite surfing, we have a local guy who has competed on the world-class level, Simon Houston. We expect him to be a big favorite in kite surfing, but there are some younger guns coming up that would like to dethrone him. And in wing foiling, there's an Italian by the name of Paolo Perucchi, who seems to be going very fast on the water, and he'll be the man to beat. And in women, there's a German lady by the name of Cornelia Krieger, which we expect to do very well. But again, she has some competition this year.
When I come back for the second half, Bendy, we'll be talking about a special plea from the Umpires Association.
Well, we'll listen out for that plea, Mark. Up next on CBC's Newsnight, the Business Report. In tonight's Business Report, scholarships offered to young people by the Barbados Public Workers Cooperative Credit Union Limited are about empowering the next generation of members. The revelation from Secretary to the Board of Directors, Irene Sandiford Garner. She was addressing the organization's scholarship award ceremony at the union's headquarters last evening. Trevor Thorpe reports.
In addition to being the credit union's board secretary, Irene Sandiford Garner is also chairperson of the Educational Grants and Social Outreach Committee. She says the ceremony is a moment of celebration and inspiration for the awardees, as well as a stimulus for them in their quest for higher learning and excellence.
Our Grants and Academic Awards program not only includes these scholarships, but also provides tertiary level educational grants to assist students pursuing higher education. Academic awards for excellence in the Barbados Secondary Schools Entrance Examination, the Caribbean Secondary Education Certificate Examinations, the Caribbean Advanced Proficiency Exams, as well as for those awarded Barbados scholarships exhibitions, Barbados government exhibitions and scholarships. So we not only assist young people, we assist mature students who are studying, who would wish assistance from the institution.
The scholarships perpetuate the vision and the memory of outstanding union members. Board member Cecile O'Neill Dorn explains.
You are the future of Barbados, and we are honored to be part of your journey. Remember, this is not just an award. It is a call to excellence, a partnership with your credit union, and an investment in a brighter tomorrow. Congratulations to all of you, and thank you for making this program a success.
The students were all thankful. Tiana Hunt, who is pursuing architectural studies, says it's been a challenging journey.
It proves that I am able to overcome anything as far as I'm concerned. I'm able to prove to myself that I have the resilience and the determination to get through any situation as long as I have God and people around me supporting me.
Math student Jaden Aline says the scholarship means a lot to him.
It really provides me with an opportunity that I didn't have before, because now I could really focus more and put more of my energy on my work for this degree and not have to worry about all the costs and what comes with that.
Peter Greenwich is pursuing an associate degree in computer studies.
To me, it seems like an opportunity to pursue my educational goals without that financial burden. And I feel like if I deserve it, because I had to work hard to get where I am right now. And for the credit union to do this to me right now, I am very, very thankful for it. I appreciate it a lot.
Electrical engineering electronics student Laura Lee Springer echoed similar sentiments.
I am very passionate in the electrical field because it coincides with much of my goals. So this scholarship is providing opportunities that I didn't even know was possible before. It gives me a lot more a stronger foot to go forward, because now I know, well, somebody's paying for me and they're helping me out and supporting my journey.
The awardees will also receive financial literacy mentorship coupled with internship opportunities. Trevor Thorpe, CBC News.
We take a look now at how the stocks traded locally and regionally.
In Jamaica, Palace Amusement Company Limited, with 10,403,334 units, was the volume leader, followed by Jamaican Producers Group Limited and VM Investments Limited. In Trinidad and Tobago, Massey Holdings Limited was the volume leader, with 54,512 shares changing hands for a value of Trinidad and Tobago $212,586.80, followed by the West Indian Tobacco Company Limited. And here in Barbados, no securities traded today on the regular market.
And that's business. We'll take a break and be back with the weather. And we say good evening to Carrie Ann O'Neill to find out what the weather is going to be like.
Good evening to you, Wendy, and good evening, everyone. Well, mostly clear and cool conditions prevailed in Barbados today. A trough system impacted the region, but we had dry conditions here in Barbados. Now, those winds are quite light for us. They're peaking at 12 knots, and convergence maintained showers and rain across the Guianas. The maximum temperature got up to just 29 degrees Celsius, the minimum 23 degrees. At present, the temperature stands at 26 degrees Celsius. The relative humidity 70%. Those winds are coming in from the east. We take a look now at some atmospheric conditions across the region, where the temperatures are ranging from 24 to 26 degrees Celsius. The humidity shows moisture is building across a number of the islands, and the winds, they're generally light across the region. We take a look now at our satellite feed, where a trough system impacted some of the islands of the Eastern Caribbean, but for us here in Barbados, we had mostly dry conditions here. Meanwhile, the winds are light across the islands. For us, they're peaking at 12 knots. The sea's moderate in open water, with swells peaking at 2 meters. We are urging small craft operators as well as sea bathers to exercise caution, especially along the western coastlines. And beachgoers, we are urging you to utilize those beaches with an on-duty lifeguard. Now, later on tonight, we are expecting quite cool conditions here in Barbados. It will also be occasionally cloudy, along with just a few light showers. Further south, convergence maintained cloudy skies along with showers and rain across the Guianas. Over now in the Western Caribbean, a cold front maintained some showers over Puerto Rico. Elsewhere had partly cloudy skies. We move now to the forecast, where the sun is expected to rise at 6:23 and will set at 5:48. Now, the first high tide is expected at 19 minutes after 1 in the early morning, the first low at 6 minutes after 6 in the morning. Those seas moderate in open water with swells peaking at 2 meters. We are urging small craft operators as well as sea bathers to exercise caution. Now, the winds, they are coming in from the east to the southeast, and they're peaking at 20 kilometers per hour. For us here in Barbados tonight, it will be mostly cool. We can also expect occasionally cloudy skies along with some light showers. And over the next 3 days, instability will generate a few showers tomorrow. Thereafter, we are expecting that the ridge pattern will maintain partly cloudy skies along with just light showers.
And it's time now to hear what those umpires have to say. So back over to you, Mark C.
Yes, indeed. One of the major mandates of the Barbados Cricket Umpires Association for 2025 is to increase its membership. So there is the call for interested people to come forward. As we hear from CBC's Anne-Marie Burke, the latest opportunity for training will begin on Monday.
With a current membership of just around 120 persons, the Barbados Cricket Umpires Association is looking to increase that number by at least 50%. And so the call goes out for persons to enroll in the upcoming 12-week training program set to start next Monday, January 13th at Kensington Oval. As we hear from the BCUA's Vice President Leon Lane, the program is set to be delivered both hybrid and in person, and is open to anyone 16 years and older, with a special appeal going out to younger persons to get involved.
Cricket world has gotten younger umpires. Our head body, let's say the West Indies Cricket Association, is asking for younger umpires. So we want to attract the younger members of society, male and female, to participate in the umpiring training session. We want to encourage as many people that are interested, might think they're interested, to come down, have a look at what we offer them, and we would ensure that once they're there, we would let them know the virtues of umpiring. Now, once before umpiring was a pastime, now is a career. You can make an entire international career, meaning the skills that you learn with us from Monday next week can take you to an international career that you might never see or work in Barbados after that. You know, because once you learn those skills can transcend any country, any place in the world.
A call is also going out for more female umpires.
More females are umpiring, especially the female competition. And there is a push to make sure that all females that are participating in the umpiring get to the level that they need to get to. And we, Barbados Association, and the West Indies Association, WICUA, is doing the same. We've gotten a couple more into the association. There were about 4 or 5 that we had from the last cohort in training, and we would like to see more because they're being taken very serious. They're being respected on the field. They are given as much opportunity as they can to grow and develop. So I would encourage the females to turn out.
Outside of focusing on increasing the number of umpires, there are future plans to expand the scope of the association.
We are trying to make this a comfortable outfit, not only umpiring, but we include in the scores, the match referees. So it would become an organization for all cricket officials to be involved in. We are currently reviewing our constitution so that we can embrace all the players within cricket itself. And believe you me, you might not even be an umpire, but you can carry on your career as a scorer. You can go into match refereeing. You can go into sports nutrition. There's so many aspects of cricket that we don't think about on the surface, but we want to highlight those and make sure that people have a career path as well.
So for persons interested in becoming a cricket umpire, this coming Monday, Kensington Oval at 5:30 p.m. is the place to be to start your journey to officiating the gentleman's game of cricket. Anne-Marie Burke, CBC Sports.
With that being sports, Randy, it's back to you.
Thank you so much, Mark. We'll return after the break. Thanks for viewing. Enjoy your evening.